follow the instructions below in order to claim your Corsair back attachment.
Okay.
In today's stream, we will take you on a deep dive into the new Settlers of Kalguur Challenge League. We'll cover the league mechanics, its new and revised crafting systems,
It's happening.
a new trade market system for currency, some sweeping balance improvements, including
Boat
two
League!
class changes,
Okay, sorry.
endgame
I had to get that out real
improvements,
quick.
some further additions to the campaign, and some quality
Just
of
had to
life
get that out of the way.
We'll then talk about our console native port releases and the features that come alongside them. Finally, we'll show you our new supporter packs, ending with a live Q&A session where Ziggy D will ask Path of Exile's game director Mark your questions from Twitch chat. After the live stream, we'll drop the full patch notes.
Classic
I'll
Q&A
hand over
with
to Mark
Ziggy
now
D.
to introduce the new league.
You gotta have it.
We've really innovated with the content in this league, and I'm
Hi,
really
Mark.
excited to see what everyone thinks. So let's just get right into it with the trailer for Path of Exile, Settlers of Kalguur.
Hell yeah. We're here! We've been patient! They've been cooking!
Rayclast is a cursed land. You'd have to be mad to settle here. And yet... Welcome to King's March! It's not much yet, but with your help, we can erect
RTS?
the greatest city Rayclast has ever seen. We'll need resources. And
Survival?
planning. Soon we'll attract settlers,
This is definitely like some sort of a Civ-inspired game.
fortune seekers, and of course, pirates.
That is so cool!
But if we prevail, our ships
What?
will be heavy with gold.
We actually get chips!
To achieve the
We get a farm!
we hope to build a home.
We get a house. What on earth have they done? And I mean that in the best way. Oh my gosh. What am I looking at? Warden? Gladiator rework? We've known the melee balance was coming. Sentinel! I was right!
In Path of Exile,
Okay.
Settlers of Kalguur, you will encounter some familiar faces from the Expedition League. Danig, Rog, Tujin, and Gwenin are Kalguuran people who are trying to establish trade between Rayclast and their homeland. They have recruited many curious characters from Rayclast, including some
Fossis
you
from
may
the first
recognize,
teaser.
but are also seeking help of a powerful exile, like yourself.
Like you, chat.
You will first encounter Johan, the King's Hand and Lion Eye's Watch.
What a good name.
He's there recruiting workers, traders, and exiles. Johan, under the command of the King of Kalguur, has been sent here to build a new city called King's March, which intends to become the hub of commerce between Rayclast and Kalguur. Soon, he will bring you to the planned site for King's March, which you'll notice has humble beginnings as just a tavern in a field. But with your help, it won't stay like this for long. It takes a lot to build a town. The Kalguurans will ask you to seek out resources that can be used to begin construction.
Okay,
On your
gathering.
adventures, you might find minerals such as crimson iron, which are veins of iron that have been overrun with corruption, spawning dangerous foes when you approach. Or perhaps
Combat?
orichalcum,
It's not just
which you will
gathering?
have to liberate from the
Ad?
demons worshipping.
No.
Petrified amber attracts mindless, blighted enemies. While bismuth has a strong affinity to the elements and causes the area to become unstable. If you're lucky, you might find vericium, a material as valuable as it is
Geographic
dangerous,
hazards, I guess?
and guarded by very powerful
Or
foes.
terrain hazards, whatever
Once
you want to call them.
defeat these monsters, the deposit will automatically be tagged for mining. But first, we need to get someone to do the hard labor. This is of course a trade expedition and nothing is free.
Storm Rain.
Miners, along with other workers that the Kalguurans have hired, must be paid in cold hard gold, which you'll notice is now dropping through.
We get gold now. Hey!
You will have
We're
control over
Diablo
who gets
2!
hired into your enterprise. Once you have
I
accumulated
know, it's
some
like
gold,
actually we're gonna be
enter
building
the
a
town
city.
and
We're,
talk to the
it's
recruiter, Rolf.
this is so much more than I imagined. This is like
Folk across Rayclast who are
just
looking
as
for
in
work.
person as Path of
You'll
Exile has
notice
always
each
been,
person
and
has
yet
their specialties and a
I
wage
feel like we're
cost.
gonna get the
It'll
vibe
be
of
up
like,
to you to
you know,
hire
being
and
the
fire as you
overseer
please.
of some sort of
Over
like
the
Civ
course of the
5
league,
match,
we'll be
right? You're
searching
gonna
for
get
your
to see a
perfect
city
employees for
be
each
built from the
job.
ground up.
Once you have them,
I'm
you
wondering
have to
how
keep them
much
paid,
you're gonna
safe, and
be able to customize it, whether this
Which
area
we'll
is gonna
get
be
into
shared.
later.
Is this like a community thing?
Here we have a prospect who has a specialty in mining. We'll start with that so we can begin to retrieve some of those resources we were talking about earlier.
So we're
Let's go
hiring
find some
people?
more and put our miner to use. Oh, we found a vein of orichalcum ore.
Oh, look at
It's guarded by
that!
dangerous demons worshipping a strange shrine. The shrine buffs the
Get to
demons,
work, Bill.
giving them power. But once you defeat them, you can seize that power for yourself. After that, we can tag the ore, and our mining specialist will get to work. Soon, we encounter a few more deposits, each with a different dangerous encounter. After you have tagged the mineral veins, your miners will get to work collecting resources in real time. They might take a while, but will continue whether you are logged in or not. The work can be sped up by hiring more or better miners, and by upgrading the mining station back in Kingsmarch
Can we
to equip them
gear?
with advanced pickaxes.
I hope we can gear them like
Alright.
in Heist.
Some time has passed and our miners have been able to get the resources
And
back
I hope
to
they have
town.
like personalities
We've
or
also
something.
managed to collect some more gold too. We can now upgrade the town and build new structures. There's plenty of options. We just need to decide where to start.
Pet the
I
sheep.
think we'll start with the tavern.
And pet the
beacon
sheep.
heart of Kingsmarch. It can be upgraded instantly to improve the recruiter's prospects. And you can find various important NPCs relaxing here. Next, we'll upgrade our mining station. You can upgrade this to improve the efficiency of your miners and allocate our newly hired workers to mining. You will eventually need a smelter, where you can send your ore to turn into more valuable bars. Then we have the disenchanter, where you can bring your magic, rare, or unique items to be added to a queue to be disenchanted over time. The items will be broken down into thaumaturgic dust, a new resource used for crafting and shipping. We'll get more into that later. And of course, a town needs food. You could invest in farming, where you can select crops to grow and harvest. But don't worry, you won't be manually watering anything.
We actually get to farm.
Ah, the wonders of delegation. With all these resources piling up, there will be excess that we can spend. Let's talk about rewards in Settlers of Kalguur.
How long have they been
Eventually, you
working
can
on
build a
this?
harbour and establish shipping routes between a number of different Kalguuran and Karui ports for trade. You'll be able to pile your acquired resources onto these ships and send them to a port of your choosing, where your traders will haggle for the best deals.
Oh, but we don't get to pilot a
Each port will
boat?
return specific rewards based on what you send them.
Let me drive it.
They accept all types of resources, but will have a preferred type that they'll currently pay more for. And you'll want to get onto this, because eventually you could be bringing in shipments like this. This,
That's just a whole haul of loot.
or even this.
Wow.
Today, we're going to trade with Kalguur.
So, boats are
You'll
lucrative.
notice that as we send more resources, this risk meter creeps up. Much like the dangers on the shores of Rayclass,
Pirates.
there are dangers out at sea. Monsters, pirates, environmental hazards. You'll want to try keep your shipment safe. You can do this by hiring workers that specialize in shipping. The more of them you add to the ship, the less risk there will be. Like this gentleman, who's famous for fending off even the most dangerous of pirates. Now let's get that shipment going, and we'll continue exploring Rayclass while we wait for its return. This is the first Path of Exile League that experiments with true, real-time mechanics. You can send out shipments, go and have lunch, and come back to your rewards. Many mechanics in the league
In-game
work this way,
notification?
so you'll always have some ongoing project or outcome to look forward to.
I'm loving the quality of life.
When your shipment has returned, or met its demise, you'll get notified, and at your leisure you can return to the town to collect your rewards. Our shipment returned safely, so let's go see what we got. Ooh, they've sent us a unique item alongside our rewards, perhaps hoping to secure us as a
Regenerate
loyal customer
life,
for the
gain
future.
ward instead of armor, and evasion rating.
Aside from shipping, the Kalgurans are big on their technology. They have hired Isla,
Wow.
a familiar face from the Heist League. She is an engineer who the Kalgurans have employed for a very exciting purpose. You're not the only one who understands how profitable running maps can be. Once at endgame, Isla can help you build a series of Kalguran modified map devices. You can then put a queue of maps into them. If you've hired a few skilled Atlas runners, they will put themselves to work running those maps for you one after another. Look, more delegation. Once again, you'll be notified when the rewards are ready to be collected. You can put lots of maps in the
Map
queue,
runners.
so don't feel obliged to go back there all the time.
What is happening?
Be careful though. The difficulty of the map impacts the
I
rest of your
don't
workers'
understand
progression.
anymore.
Try
Huh?
to pick your best workers.
I couldn't read
or
fast enough.
perhaps just ones you don't like. Consider the difficulty too. Sometimes it's better to just run it yourself. You'll see there are many benefits to having a whole-ass town at your fingertips. Let's talk about crafting services.
This is so
You
cool.
should definitely consider building a runesmithing table. This is operated by Danig himself, using powerful Kalguran blacksmithing
I wonder how you
arts.
do the upgrades.
He can engrave runic magic onto your weapons.
Is it
using
just gold, do you think?
runes. There
Don't
are
worry,
many rune
we're
types and
gonna post it,
combinations
and
to
I'm
choose
sure they're
from,
gonna post it as
and
well.
you can unlock new crafts that can be applied to your weapons as enchantments. Our design intention here is to take powerful effects you would usually only find on unique items, like this modifier, which you might recognize from Doomfletcher's Prism. Danig can apply it to your two-hand maces.
Extra damage
There
of
are over
each
100 different
element.
special crafting outcomes, ranging from one
That
very
is
easily
crazy.
applied to very difficult.
Holy power
The
creep.
rune types can be acquired through trade with Kalguur, or defeating
Plus
powerful
150%
The
elemental.
Kalguran tech benefits don't end there. We're also bringing back a formerly overpowered crowd favorite, Recombination. Isla is trying to master this. She just needs you
I
to
knew
help
it.
her with getting resources. The system isn't as strong as it used to be, but it still allows you to combine two items together, hoping to get the best modifiers of each. Onto
It's
a single
perfect! It's perfect!
Between running a town, shipping, and
It's
exploring,
literally
you'll
perfect.
be collecting a lot of extra gold. It is now the primary resource for two huge new quality of life features that we are putting to test.
What a beautiful
Firstly,
room design.
you can use gold to respec passive points. This is a feature from Path of Exile 2 that we've decided just makes sense to port back.
Yo.
The higher level you are, the more expensive it gets.
Oh.
And the next one is absolutely massive. A currency trade market. The Kalgurans have recruited Faustus, another NPC from the Heist League.
Huh?
He allows you to asynchronously buy and sell currency and most other stackable items with other players without the nuisance of price fixes and people who never respond. All you need to do is select what currency you want, say
It's
what you
here.
have, and your ideal ratio. It works
It's
kinda
here.
like a real-life stock market.
They did it.
Faustus will make the trade happen.
We
for you,
have currency
so long as
auction
there is someone
house.
selling on the other end for the same rate or less.
Oh my goodness.
You'll be able to go back to blasting monsters while
The
trusty Faustus
amount
does the
of
dirty work.
Work that has
Notifying you
gone
when
into
your
this
currency
league
is ready for collection. All you need to do is pay him a small amount of gold. for this
cannot be overstated.
Cards on the table. This is an experiment to see if this type of asynchronous trading has a place in
This
future
league
Path of Exile releases. We're
Is
very excited to see how it goes.
massive.
Now, given that Faustus is an expert in black market trade and shady deals,
My
he
jaw
also
is on the
provides
floor
another
already.
service,
What else are you gonna say?
offering items for gold. The items will generate with
That looks really
random
cool.
rarity, and on average, the modifiers on them are better than normal. This can be a very nice way to get some targeted items during the campaign. For serious crafters, it can be a great starting point for making those elusive, specific in-game items, which perhaps you could take to the runesmith afterwards. It's worth noting that you can invite Faustus to your hideout, where he will always be available for respecking, currency exchange, and black market items. As your town grows, it will attract more attention, good and bad.
You don't even have to go to the
Settlers
town
of
if you don't
Kalguur
want to.
features 3 endgame bosses that will close in on your operations,
Pirate
wanting a
boss?
piece of the pie. They might capture and ransom your workers, even your entire ships. You'll have to make some tough decisions. Will you take them on, or pay them off? One example of a boss is Sasan, the Bandit Lord. You won't stumble across this boss by accident.
It's an inherently
Instead,
cool name.
This unsavory character can come into your town at night and take your Atlas runners hostage. holding them for ransom. What happens next is up to you.
Your town can be attacked
Perhaps
and you've
you'll
got to
refuse
defend
to
it.
negotiate with bandits, leading to a fight to defeat Sasan and rescue your workers. If you're not up for the heroics, you might simply pay the ransom in gold.
Your villages got
Perhaps
stolen.
these workers were especially disappointing, and you'll just leave them for dead in true Ray class fashion. They knew what they were signing up for, right?
See ya.
Of course, the heroics might be worth it for other reasons. These bosses can drop new unique items.
Ooh. Block spell damage. Ward.
In sum, Settlers of Kalguur
I can't
is a
read fast
very
enough.
experimental league with new mechanics that will completely change how you play the core game. We've been sitting on a lot of these ideas for a while and can't wait to share them with you. But there's a lot more to this expansion. Let's talk about balance.
Yes,
Well,
please.
We've finally rebalanced the Gladiator. It's been a long time coming. Like before, there are passive skills that allow you to invest in bleeding and block. We've designed new skills replacing some of the old ones. Like this, War of Attrition, which is very handy for long sustained boss fights.
Deal 1%
Further
more damage with hits
alongside
and
the Gladiator theme, this
second
new
they've ever
passive
been hit
allows you to
replace-
combine different weapon types while
100%.
dual wielding to get a variety of powerful bonuses. For example, holding a dagger will give you more critical strike chance, while holding a mace gives you more area of effect. Of course, you could just use Varanastra for all weapon type bonuses. And finally, we have a new notable which allows you to invest in the newly added Retaliation skills. These are active
Gladiator's
skills
the
which require
Varanastra
you to meet a
class.
certain condition in order to use them. Once you meet that condition, you can unleash devastation on your foes. Here we have Eviscerate, which requires you to have a shield. Or for those who like to dual wield, Sword Storm, which is great for obliterating bosses.
Whoa.
Here we have the Divine Retribution skill. This one has the condition requiring you to block. You can then unleash
Whoa!
devastating
That looked
spells, using
fantastic.
lightning bolts to strike the ground in an X shape around your target location, doing huge amounts of damage. And of course, in true Path of Exile fashion, there are many avenues to invest in these
Expert
mechanics
retaliation,
further
crushing
on the
blow.
passive tree and a new support gem.
30% increase.
You are able to increase the leeway duration after
Just
meeting
goes
the
like-
condition, reduce the cooldowns, or just increase their damage. The world's your oyster.
Yo.
The
That means
Gladiator
passive
was the
tree
only
changes.
ascendancy class we've changed. As we develop Path of Exile systems, we often find ourselves reusing mechanics, increasing their depth, and allowing more avenues to invest into them. As such, the Raider Ascendancy class found itself lacking, with many of its passives commonly available elsewhere. We want our Ascendancy classes to always feel like they're pushing the boundaries, allowing you to change your character in ways that are meaningful and ideally unique.
Rip.
As a result,
Frenzy
we
stackers.
straight up removed the Raider. Rest in peace. And added a new class in its place, the Warden. This class is largely inspired by its predecessor from the Affliction League, with a few changes. The Warden now focuses on elemental attacks, changing the behavior of Shock, enhancing Freeze, and replacing Ignite with Scorch.
Wow.
There's also a skill that allows you to go ballistic with your elemental damage, periodically.
Unbound
The
avatar
class
skill.
also grants Barkskin. which is a skill that can be used to mitigate physical damage from hits.
Wow.
After taking a number of hits, it increases your evasion.
Wow.
Making it a great defensive choice.
I love it.
Finally, the last thing the Warden can specialize in is tinctures. These are an alternative to flasks
returning?
in the Affliction League. We're bringing them back with adjusted mechanics.
Adjusted mechanics, okay.
Tinctures can be placed in your belt, replacing flasks. You can inherently only have one tincture active at a time, and it requires a melee weapon to use. While activated, they grant a powerful buff. They can drop as magic items, or be modified with currency to grant extra bonuses.
80%
Here
increased
is
damage.
a
with
prismatic
bleeding.
tincture. This one increases elemental damage by 100% while active.
My
You'll
goodness.
notice it has two extra effects. One is that it applies mana burn every second. Mana burn is a debuff that builds up while tinctures are active that causes you to lose mana, losing more mana for each stack. Tinctures also have a cooldown, so once you have disabled one, no other tincture can be enabled for a time. These changes make tincture use a more active and interesting choice than it was in Affliction. Both mana burn and the cooldown can be modified through modifiers on the tinctures or on the passive skill tree. Players will want to maximize their tincture uptime for sure.
Okay.
Here we have a couple other tinctures. The Poisonberry
They're
tincture
leaning
is
into the
excellent
flask
for poison
direction.
builds. The Rosethorn tincture is the choice for those wanting to deal critical strikes. You might be wondering, with the removal of the Raider, where has the Frenzy Charge investment gone? We've added a Frenzy Charge passive skill to the Deadeye, replacing the Rupture passive skill.
Wow.
On top of Ascendancy classes, we have revisited a number
that a
of
buff?
mechanics. This time taking pains to ensure easy access through the passive tree, skill gems, and simple items. We don't want all the powerful mechanics to be hidden behind layers of complexity. Let's just rapid fire through the key points. If you want more detail later, you can read the patch notes,
Oh, we
which
will
will
be.
be dropped after the live stream. Be sure to let us know what you think. There's a lot of changes, so be prepared for a bit of a shock to the system. I expect it will take several days for the dust to settle on this one. Firstly, we've made some drastic
Just letting us
alterations
know up
to
front,
melee
it's going to be
skills.
rocky.
Let me just rip this band-aid off. Melee totem skill gems have been removed. We're trying to adopt a philosophy with melee going forward that, unlike other builds, it will be far less oriented around set and forget gameplay. You will deal
Bye,
with damage
Ancestral
yourself,
Protector Hero Fan.
and you should be rewarded
Bye,
for doing so.
Facebreaker War Chief.
To compensate, we have buffed the damage on almost every single melee skill. As the majority of this damage growth comes from gem levels, we have also made them cost more mana as they level, but it's nothing like the mana costs on spells. Here are some examples of the damage and costs before and after. Heavy Strike has gone from dealing 313% attack damage at gem level 20 to a massive 552% attack damage. It's also
What?
worth noting it no longer knocks enemies back. And Sweep has gone from dealing 281% attack damage to now dealing 664%
What?
attack damage at gem level 20.
What on
These are
earth?
just two examples, but the majority of melee skills are now dealing approximately 75% more damage at level 20. Of course, with melee comes close proximity combat, so you need some good defensive options.
Oh my
New base
goodness!
Higher defensive values will now drop throughout the endgame. As you reach yellow, red, and purple maps, you can expect to find higher tier base types in each. For example, Val Regalia and Hubris Circlet are no longer the best in slot items for Energy Shield. There are new base types that surpass them. Combined with some quality changes, which we'll talk about soon, you can now get better items than ever before in these slots.
Lich's Circlet, that just sounds
To
cool.
compensate, we have reduced the amount of flat evasion and armor from the Grace and Determination auras. But
I also
overall,
love how they
you're
just
getting more
didn't use
defenses
new
than
art.
before.
They're just like, yeah, these are different now.
On top of this, we have buffed life modifiers on magic and rare equipment. You can now get as high as 189 additional maximum life from a single modifier on body armors. And
Wow.
other slots too. Helm's Heart has also finally been restored to its former glory and once again grants plus 1000 to maximum life. I mentioned quality. Quality on weapons and armors is being changed to apply multiplicatively.
What on
In other
earth
words,
have they
weapons
done?
with
This
full
is
quality
so
will have 20%
much.
more physical
This
damage,
is so
and
cool.
armor with full quality will have 20% more local defenses.
I'm just overwhelmed
For
at this
melee,
point.
this will mean a damage increase for almost all builds using physical damage attacks. And it will mean more evasion, armor, energy shield, and ward for all builds. Endurance charges no longer grant elemental resistances, but instead grant additional elemental damage reduction, making it multiplicative with resistances.
Wow.
You can now get 4% per charge, alongside the existing 4% physical damage reduction. To compensate, we have made some changes to the Juggernaut, and various unique items like Eternal Damnation. You can get more maximum resistances from the tree, specifically around the Marauder class start. These of course can stack with the new elemental mitigation from endurance charges.
New pathing everywhere.
On top of this, duels can now roll maximum elemental resistances as modifiers. Since we're making elemental mitigation more accessible, we've heavily reduced accessibility to physical damage taken as chaos or elemental damage. Those stats are still around, but you should not expect to be getting full conversion anymore. All block passives have been buffed, so you can now more easily achieve block cap from just the passive tree.
Yes!
The keystone,
Finally!
Versatile Combatant, has been improved to have less of a penalty to maximum block. A number of life leech passives have been buffed to generally allow for more acquisition of maximum leech rate for life.
Very cool.
Vow Pact has been reinstated to its former glory.
Overleach
for instant
enjoyers,
life
log
leech,
in.
but only for melee. We've reworked Flesh and Stone. Previously, this buff skill granted Maim and Blind, depending on the stance of our character. Now, while in Sand stance, the skill simply provides damage mitigation, becoming more effective the closer you are to enemies. While in Blood stance, enemies will take more physical damage the closer you are to them.
That's very
This
cool.
skill will now greatly favor melee or
It's such a
close
simple
range
decision
gameplay.
and yet such a fun one.
Given we're doing a Kalguuran league, Ward has also received a bit of attention. There are new uniques that grant Ward, and the base restoration of Ward is now faster.
Very
To
nice.
compensate, Olroth's Resolve has been nerfed,
Oh,
but Ward loop builds will still be possible.
okay.
Anyway,
I
that
wonder
was
if it's
most of the
more
purely
possible
defensive
or
changes.
less possible.
Now let's look at some of the offensive and utility-based ones.
It has.
There are more
This
and
is
better
it.
ways to deal with mana as an attacker.
They
on
have
the
been
southern
cooking the
hemisphere
whole
of the passive
time.
tree.
They have heard us. They have been hearing us. Oh my
Wands,
gosh, I just don't read fast
daggers,
enough.
Scepters, claws, and staves now have higher critical strike chance values than ever.
We have confirmation,
Wands
it's
can go as
staves!
high as 10% without modifiers. Sandstorm Visage has been made rarer to compensate, instead of reducing its power. For you wand attackers,
That's nice. I think
wands
that's
now have
fair.
higher attack speed than ever to compensate for their low damage. Wand exclusive skills such as Power Siphon, Kinetic Bolt, and Kinetic Blast now have faster attack times. Impale passives have been revised and in general buffed.
So they want Wanderers to feel speedy.
The
More
buffs
impale,
granted
always
by
nice.
Warcries are now simpler but more significant and more universal to builds. They also now apply to allies by default. Banners
Wow.
have been reworked. Instead of having a reservation cost, they are now free. However, they don't grant a permanent buff.
Oh.
Banners now need to be placed for the effect to be active.
Oh, okay.
However, once placed, they are far more powerful than before.
Hmm.
Additionally, there are new ways to prolong the effects.
That's still fun, right?
and
Like,
more
that's a
ways
button to
invest in
press.
them than ever before.
Valor?
Rage has been made more fundamental and discoverable. Rage is now multiplicative attack damage.
Gain 1
No
rage
longer
on melee
inherently
hit.
grants attack speed or movement speed.
That's a small node.
It has a new cap, and you can find many new passive clusters that allow you to invest into the mechanic. The goal is to make Rage more powerful as a baseline, and less gated behind the use of
What
specific
the
unique items and
heck? You
ascendancy
can get, like-
classes.
What was that we saw?
Berserk has been nerfed, just so you're aware. We have changed
Berserk
how
has been
bleed
nerfed?
works
Okay.
too. you can now find aggravated bleed on the passive tree. When applied, all bleeds on the enemy will deal damage as if the enemy is moving for the remainder of their duration.
Yes! Yes,
Skill
dude!
and
Melee
Slowdown
bleed!
no longer interacts with bleed, so no more will you have to
Get
apply
Crimson
bleed
Dance
to
out of
your
here!
body. You can now achieve the same result using aggravated bleed passives without the annoyance.
Thank
From
you!
the Deadeye has been turned into a support gem. We've added the new Overexertion support gem, which highly favors slam builds.
Slammers! Where are you at?
It's time to look at a hot topic, Magic Find.
Where are
In the
you
sixth
at?
Kalguur expansion, we are going to be removing item quantity bonuses from all character items.
GGG is
This will not
wombo
affect
comboing the
existing
competition
items in
right now.
standard leagues. Magic Find is intended to be another access on your gear you can scale once you have achieved the power you want. With item quantity being only available on unique items, this meant if you wanted to get the most out of it, you had to be playing a very specific build. We still want people to be able to invest into Magic Find, but now only through item rarity. This can be obtained on a number of rare item slots, and by a much larger number of builds. What about Ventor's Gamble, you might ask?
Magic finding
Here
nerf,
it
but
is
also
now.
kind of widening.
This is one of the biggest balance patches we've ever done.
What was
I
different
can't
about
promise
that
existing builds will all be safe.
that
Even
Ventor's Gamble?
we aren't able to predict all the outcomes here, nor have we even gone into every single change. Just the major ones.
I can't even imagine what
I
the
don't know,
patch notes
man.
are gonna look like.
Balance is hard. But the sheer number of new,
There it is,
viable
dude.
options is exciting.
That
especially
one
for
little
Melee.
detail in all the
And we're determined to drag
teasers.
the game in a better direction. Be sure to read the patch notes after this. It's going to be a ruckus. In 3.24, we overhauled the in-game experience by introducing a new.
They're not even done.
Working scarabs. We want
They're
to
not
continue
even
to improve
done.
These systems and introduce more exciting in-game content every league. 3.25 is no exception. Let's check out the myriad of changes coming in Settlers of Kalguur. First up, we are changing many scarabs. We won't go into too much detail here to
Two
avoid
additional
getting
monster
lost in
modifiers
the
increase
weeds,
map found in
but here's
area.
a few new ones.
Map modifiers
Be sure to check out
Ignition
the
code to
patch
drop
notes
an area
after this
stolen.
for more detail.
are stolen by the final map boss. What?
We've also added
Why is
an
he stealing
additional
my
map device
cards?
slot, which will be unlocked upon completing your first 10-way Maven encounter. This simply allows for more combinations of scarabs and maps, resulting in more difficulty and more rewards. This is on top of the existing additional slot that can be unlocked by completing your first tier 17
I
map.
teased this, but I still
There are
can't
now
get
6
the
map device
Exodia
slots in
image out of my head.
You might have seen our teaser, where we revealed we'll be adding new special encounters to the in-game. One such encounter
Look
is
at this
the
ball
Nameless
lightning
Seal,
enjoyer.
lurking in tier 16 and 17 maps. This NPC will give you a
Ooh.
selection of unique items, and you can pick one for free. In tier 16 maps, he now has an additional feature, where you can scry a map. This allows you to swap the divination card drops of the current map with another map on your atlas. Just one caveat, you cannot have the same map be in multiple swaps at the same time. If you want to undo your choice, you can use
Multiple
a scouring
swaps
orb
at
on
the same
either map
time.
on your atlas.
I'm not sure I fully understand that
We've
one, but
also
that
made
change
some
alone
updates
right
to a
there
couple of leagues.
seems unfathomably powerful.
Blight has been updated with some atlas passive skill changes.
Blight, epidemiology, varieties of
and
items.
double
Ah, I
magic
can't read!
amulets can now drop in Blight Ravaged maps.
Why am I so illiterate?
We've also introduced a new type of oil that can only drop from Blighted and Blight Ravaged maps.
It's the rainbow oil.
Ritual has also been updated.
This
You
is
can
going
now
so
find
rapid
new
fire.
And many reworked base types, new unique items.
Pacify, penance mark.
corpses
Oh,
you can use to
GGG,
raise
slow down!
corpses,
You know what you're doing now. Oh my god, I
and
can't read
occasionally
fast
a
enough.
fragment, granting access to the King in the Mist
Oh,
boss fight
no.
from the Affliction League.
What is even
A number
happening?
of unique items that were familiar from the league. But
Hey, we
not
know that guy.
Which was taken, as it is now that which was taken away. However,
Does it drop?
he now drops a different modular jewel that you might recognize from the Necropolis League.
What's different about it? In
In
radius.
tier 16 and tier 17 maps, You can now encounter the Wildwood, also from
So
the
they
Affliction League.
Took
In
the
case you
jewel
missed it,
from
the Wildwood is a mysterious forest fraught with
3.24
danger.
and put it into
In the darkness, you will
3.25
find
from
magical
Affliction
wisps
Boss.
yearning for freedom. Upon releasing them, they will empower the monsters in your map, promising more danger but more rewards. You may also find
like how they
random
said danger
sentinels on the
first.
ground near the start of your maps, from the Sentinel League. They work in a similar way to before. They aren't items, but you can click on them and then they can be activated in that area at any time of your choosing. Upon activation, they will buff monsters around you, increasing their difficulty and rewards. And here's one for those who like to live dangerously. You may occasionally find a reflective mist from the Kalguur League.
Look at that slam.
It has two outcomes. It could drop a jewelry item with randomly enhanced or inverted modifier values, or it can give a reflecting mist item, which can be used on an existing.
We're
piece
just
of
getting
jewelry
like a
to perform
bunch
the
of
same
different
action
league
at a time
mechanics.
of your choosing. Good luck. There's many other small changes to league content. We're removing the first 15 most boring waves of the simulacrum.
We already knew about this, but it's an
rebalancing
amazing
its rewards to
change.
improve the chances of
Everyone
finding
will
unique
appreciate
jewels.
this, I promise you.
We're also adding some of the beasts from Einhar's Memory of Harvest Beasts to the core pool. This includes the Black Morrigan.
Cool.
In other news, we've added
I hope
a
that
set of
means his
new
crafting
chisel types,
options stay.
which can be applied to your maps to get different bonuses. While the Cartographer's Chisel
New
still
chisels.
increases item
New
quantity,
chisels, chat.
there are new ones that now increase rarity, pack size,
Okay.
increased chance for currency items,
Okay.
divination cards, and scarabs. It's also worth mentioning that chisels now apply 20%
How valuable
quality
do you think
per
those are
chisel
gonna be?
to white maps, 10% to yellow maps, and 5% to red maps and higher. Unique maps still require the full 20 chisels. Also, only one type of chisel can be applied to a map at a time. During 3.24, we made a change to tier 17 maps that allowed them to be rerolled with Chaos Orbs.
Yo, at Zeri maps with
We
the
are now
increased
expanding
currency
the
drops, what do you guys
types that can
think?
be used on them to also include currencies like chisels and Val Orbs. Ultimately, the only restriction tier 17 maps now have is that explicit modifiers cannot be removed from them. We have also revised the difficulty of these maps, as they didn't quite hit the mark. The monsters in them now have substantially less life
Good.
and deal less damage, meaning tier 17 maps now better fit into the progression between Pinnacle and Uber Pinnacle content.
Can they please not be like...
Lastly, we've
I
adjusted
don't
the
know.
drop rate of
I won't
Valdo's
say
puzzle
anything.
boxes.
I've never really
Previously,
made a
we
character
were
to specifically
adapting
do
a
them,
drop
so I haven't
rate
even been
based
able
on
to give it a
possible
try. I've got to
outcomes
give it a try
selected
before
by
I have an
supporters.
opinion on tier 17s this time.
So many supporters really wanted Mage Bloods, so the box was hardly dropping. Thus, we have drastically increased the drop rate of the box, but reduced the probability of getting chase unique items from it, like Mage Blood. Overall, we have taken care not to reduce the number of Mage Bloods total in the economy. We figured it was better to have more tickets for fun rather than barely seeing any boxes in a league.
I'm here for that kind of a change.
We've been
I
hard
completely
at work
agree with
improving
Mark
the
here.
Path of Exile experience on consoles. With native ports for the Xbox Series consoles already being released,
He's getting
and
demolished
PS5
by
on
those
the New
rats.
Horizon, the game now takes full advantage of the console hardware. Loading times have been reduced even further, pop-in has been reduced, and textures won't start unloading in heavy scenes. Furthermore, overall visual fidelity
an
has been
honest
improved for all
update.
new generation consoles.
I feel like other
Path of Exile now uses the highest available
developers
resolution
wouldn't be
textures
as
and
upfront
water
with you
effects.
as to whether they were changing
We've
something like that.
installed
They
a
would just
new
kind of like slip it
upscaling
through. It was like, oh
algorithm
no, that never happened.
improves the crispness of dynamic
They're just like,
resolution,
yeah, we're sorry,
with an
but we fixed it.
additional anti-aliasing pass on top of that. With
If nothing
these
else, they've
upgrades,
been working
we
on it
also support
diligently,
variable refresh
just
rate
like everything
TVs
else he's been
and
talking about. I
monitors
mean, this
on
is just
PlayStation 5 and
this
on
is
all
mind-boggling.
Xbox consoles. In the options, players can now choose which aspect of visual fidelity they want to focus on: resolution, image quality, or target frame rate.
variety is the spice of
In
life.
3.24, we added some new encounters and secrets to the campaign. In Settlers of Kalguur, we're adding even more. We're not going to spoil them all here,
Please
but
don't.
keep an eye out for anything unfamiliar on your adventures.
Love it.
Who knows what you'll find? I mean, I know, but still. There's an
Stop rubbing it
underground
in.
bunker underneath the refinery,
We get it.
guarded by powerful robots. I wonder what's been hidden away here. How do I unlock this mysterious door? What riches must lay inside? Blighted growths have appeared in the gardens and sewers of San. A vault containing riches can be found in the reliquary. As you might have seen in our teasers,
those are
there's
just a few
slew of quality of life features we've been working on. Here's a quick summary. You'll no longer need to interact with waypoints to unlock them. You can just walk by
Love
and
it.
they'll activate automatically. When using keyboard and mouse, you'll be able to pick up items from further away. We're
Holy
adding
buff,
static
Batman.
life bars to some bosses. Not all bosses will have them
How many
just yet,
times have you tried to
but
pick
we'll be
something up and
adding
you're
more
like,
over
but I was
time.
right next to it?
You can now see which divination cards drop in each map by hovering over them on your atlas. When you die, you can now resurrect without having to reactivate
That divination
all your
card
reservation
change is
effects,
just like chef's
auras
kiss.
and heralds. You can
The
start
aura's not
half of
going
the
away,
counters with
chef's
just a
kiss.
single action.
Just like
The
fucking
amount of
masterpiece.
quality provided by currency items like whetstones is now based on the item level, rather than item rarity. Those currencies now apply a 20% quality to very low-level items, with that amount reducing
He's
as
going
the
over
item
some of the
level
teasers.
increases. Next up,
Ooh,
we're
supporter
going to be
packs.
talking about our new
If there were a
league
league that they
supporter
deserve
packs.
supporter packs, this is it.
Today, we're
This is
launching
one of
two
them.
new series of supporter packs.
They deserve
The
your
Paladin
support right
and
now,
Penance
guys.
Packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value
I'm
in
gonna go out
points,
on a limb and just say that right
alongside
now. I don't
several
even need to see
exclusive
the patch notes. We are
microtransactions.
going to feast.
These packs are only
Come the
available for the
26th.
duration of the Settlers of Kalguur League and will leave the store forever when it ends. As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power or progression in any way. The Paladin series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions.
What is going on in this background?
Adorn your weapon or shield with the Paladin weapon effect. Make a show of leveling up with the Harpy Flyover level up effect. Equipping the Divine Paladin armor set will periodically cause slain enemies to be consecrated and laid to rest. This set also comes with a matching back attachment.
That looks
Both
beautiful.
the helmet and back attachment have options to display the radiant glow, or not. You pick. The Divine Judgment finisher effect locks onto unique enemies before obliterating them with a laser
Orbital
from the
strike.
heavens.
We're playing Gears of
May
War
your
now.
Critical hits resonate across Rayclast with the Cleric's Bell back attachment.
Ding ding. Could
Invite
you imagine
your
how many
friends to
times it's gonna
spend a
ding when
day
you've
at
got
the
all that
races
increased attack
in the
speed with wand skills?
Vasteri Race
Ding
Course
ding ding ding
layout.
ding 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 ding.
Add rowers to the track to race them against each other. Or you can just spectate from the sidelines.
That's beautiful.
The Penance Pack series also has 6 exclusive microtransactions. With the Penance back attachment equipped, a repentant soul is chained to your back
Spooky.
and lashed with lightning. Ouch. Place none other than the Trial Master in your hideout and have him comment on your chaos.
But he's so mean.
Far fairer now than in ancient times.
Oh, that wasn't
and
very
Val
mean.
crafting attempts.
Okay.
Your luck is over, fool.
I knew
He
it.
even keeps a
I
record
knew
of
it.
how many Chaos and Val orbs you've used in your hideout during the league, or across
Trial
all
Master's
leagues.
always such a jerk.
Blood stains your armor the more life you lose when wearing the Acolyte's Penance armor set.
That looks really good.
The Zealot's Madness portal
I love
effect
just
fragments
classic
as you near it.
Armor sets. Like nothing over the top.
The
Something that
Kalguur
makes
map
you look
device
like you're a
boils
knight.
maps, fragments, and scarabs placed into it, keeping a tally of how many have been thrown into the pot in the current league or across all leagues.
Double trouble. Something.
The exiled squire pets follow in your footsteps.
I don't know the words to it,
hyping you
okay?
up for battles,
No sweat for you, boss.
Is it double bubble, boil, and trouble?
providing pessimistic commentary,
Can't remember. Let me know in the comments.
Cycle repeats.
or voicing their disdain for you to bring you down a peg.
About time you kicked the bucket.
These packs are now available for purchase on both PC and console, and will remain so during Path of Exile, Settlers of Kalguur. Meanwhile, the Solar and Eldritch packs leave the store forever at the launch of Settlers of Kalguur League, so now's your last chance to purchase them. Thank you so much for your ongoing support.
Bravo.
Now, we have one more thing to announce before getting into the Q&A.
What could it be?
We are soon going to be running a small closed beta test for Path of Exile 2. We have been taking signups for the Path of Exile 2 beta tests over at pathofexile2.com. We will only be selecting a very limited number of people for this first test, but if you want to make sure that you are considered, then head over to the website and register your email address now.
I'm pretty sure I'm registered.
We're just about to start the Q&A.
I really hope I get selected. I would absolutely love to give it a
Path of
try.
Exile Settlers of Kalguur's full patch notes.
I would really love to give it a try.
With release at the end of next week, our community team will be posting crucial information you'll need for Settlers of Kalguur's release. Keep an eye on the news. On release weekend, we expect to launch the new mystery box and this season's Kerax Vault Pass. Thanks for joining us today and checking out our latest developments. We're looking forward to building our towns alongside you, trying new builds, slaying monsters, and exploring new endgame strategies next week. We'll begin the Q&A shortly, so please get your questions ready.
That was just absolutely fantastic. I am not prepared at all. I am not prepared one bit for 3.25.
So boy selection without objection.